Buckle up, Vikings, because we're about to take a wild ride through the How to Train Your Dragon universe. From the skies of Berk to the depths of the hidden world, the dragons in How to Train Your Dragon come in all shapes, sizes, and most importantly, power levels. Some breathe fire hot enough to melt steel, while others can disappear in a flash or crush ships with a single swipe of their tails. The question is, which of these legendary beasts reigns supreme? Who's got the deadliest firepower, the toughest scales, the strength to leave even the bravest Vikings shaking in their boots? Hello and welcome back, Marvelous fans. Today, in this marvelous video, we're gonna rank the top 10 strongest dragons from How to Train Your Dragon, considering their strength, abilities, and battle prowess. Will the Night Fury take the crown, or is there an even mightier dragon lurking in the shadows? Well, let's dive in and find out. Oh, but before we begin, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like the video. It helps us out a lot. Now, let's begin.
Lived among them for 20 years, Hiccup, discovering their secret.
Bewilderbeast. Let's begin with the absolute beast of the How to Train Your Dragon universe, the Bewilderbeast. This icy behemoth is colossal. Officially, it measures a jaw-dropping 520 feet long with a 150-foot wingspan. Some sources say it can stretch up to 648 feet. The Bewilderbeast is a four-legged, ocean-dwelling dragon with a massive muscular body, a pleated neck like a whale, and a fluked tail perfect for propelling it through the water. It sports a crown of enormous jagged spikes that fan out from the back of its head, giving it the appearance of a mythical king. Around its piercing eyes, it has antenna-like spines that vibrate when using its most terrifying ability, Dragon Mind Control. Its enormous tusks, similar to an elephant's, are its primary weapons in combat, locking with rival Bewilderbeasts in brutal wrestling matches to determine dominance. The Bewilderbeast is the alpha of the alphas, a dragon so powerful that others naturally bow to it. Of course, they don't get that title for free. No, they earn it through brutal battles, wisdom, and caring for their dragon flocks like a feathery, fire-breathing father. Now, let's talk about their real estate skill set. These guys build massive ice-covered sanctuaries using their own supercooled breath. They even install natural hot springs for a bit of that spa day luxury. Talk about a multitasking monarch. On top of that, Bewilderbeasts are terrors in battle. They don't just breathe ice, they weaponize it. They create mountain-sized ice spikes that freeze entire battlefields in seconds. Oh, and if you think you're safe in water, well, think again. This dragon is a Class 10 Leviathan, meaning it can torpedo itself out of the ocean and crush enemies with the force of a tidal wave. Perhaps its most terrifying ability is Mind Control. With eerie, vibrating antenna and ultrasonic pulses, a Bewilderbeast can bend other dragons to its will, making them their loyal subjects. Despite its towering presence, a wild Bewilderbeast is not naturally aggressive. It prefers to stay reclusive, ruling its domain with a firm but fair presence. Think of it like a wise old ruler, more of a protector than a tyrant. However, when challenged, it will fight to maintain its dominance. Even though they prefer to lead with quiet authority, they can become devastating weapons of destruction in the wrong hands. Take, for example, Drago's monstrous war-trained Bewilderbeast. Night Fury, Toothless. Dubbed the unholy offspring of lightning and death itself, this dragon is so rare and elusive that most Vikings thought it was a myth, until Hiccup met Toothless, of course. Now try to picture a black panther, a bat, and an axolotl that had a baby. That's the Night Fury for you. He's sleek, built for speed, and can vanish into the night like a shadow. His elegant aerodynamic body and his 45-foot wingspan let him weave through the sky with impossible agility, making him nearly untouchable in battle. He is one of the only dragons capable of reaching supersonic speeds, and he can take off from a standstill like a pigeon, a very, very deadly pigeon. He can outmaneuver almost anything, twisting through the sky like a fighter jet, and he even uses his tail fins like a plane's rudder for insane precision. Lose one though? Let's just say Toothless had a rough time without Hiccup's help. His cat-like yellow-green eyes, retractable teeth, and expressive ear fins make him look oddly adorable. Don't let that cute little face fool you though, for the Night Furies are weapons of mass destruction. They launch purple plasma blasts that explode on impact. Need to take down a ship, a fortress, a red death? Well, one well-placed blast and boom, problem solved. They can control the power of their shots from stunning enemies to leveling battlements. Oh, and they can fire into a lightning bolt and make an electroplasma supernova. At night, a Night Fury is practically invisible. Its dark scales blend perfectly with the sky, and the only warning before an attack is a high-pitched whistle right before it dive bombs its target at breakneck speed. Despite their fearsome reputation, Night Furies are curious, playful, and fiercely loyal. They chase sparks, play with food, and tilt their heads in curiosity. They're also strong-willed, protective, and surprisingly expressive. Get dark! Red Death. If dragons had royalty, the Red Death would be the queen. The unstoppable, fire-breathing, volcanic warlord queen. This giant Stroker-class dragon didn't just live in a volcano, she was the reason it was constantly erupting. For centuries, she was the puppet master behind every dragon raid, commanding her fiery minions to steal food and drop it straight into her gaping maw. For generations, Vikings thought dragons were the enemy. Turns out, they were just as terrified as the humans were, because if they didn't bring home dinner for their lovely queen, they became the dinner. Fear was her special weapon. One glance from her 6 glowing eyes would make even the fiercest dragon freeze like a deer in the headlights. If that didn't do the trick, she had a subvocal homing signal that forced dragons to obey her. The Red Death is among the largest of the dragons, second only to the Bewilderbeast. She was so massive that she had to explode out of her mountain lair to stretch her wings. Imagine something the size of a Viking fortress with a bludgeon-tipped tail, spiked armor, and 3 pairs of eyes that gave her near 360-degree vision, basically no blind spots, and no mercy. Oh, and don't even get me started on her firepower. She unleashed methane-fueled, city-destroying explosions that could incinerate Viking fleets in one breath. Her blasts were so huge that they created thick clouds of black smoke, making her look like a walking volcanic eruption. This dragon was built like a fortress, with a hide so tough that even multiple Night Fury blasts could barely slow her down. It took an inside job explosion, literally, to bring her down. Here's a fun fact. Legend has it that a Red Death can live for a whopping 2,000 years, and just before kicking the bucket, she lays 3,000 eggs. The kicker is that the baby dragons don't get a warm and fuzzy family reunion. Nope. They battle in a century-long dragon royale until only one survives to claim the Red Death's throne. Light Fury. If the Night Fury is a ninja of the dark skies, the Light Fury is his dazzling counterpart, the yin to his yang. Sleek, swift, and practically invisible in the daylight, she's a strike-class dragon with just as much speed, stealth, and plasma-powered firepower as Toothless himself. If Toothless owns the night, the Light Fury dominates the day. This gorgeous, glittery predator has one of the coolest party tricks in the dragon world, invisibility. Well, it's not magic exactly, but it's pretty close. She can transform into a living mirror by heating up the silicates in her scales, blending perfectly with her surroundings. Clouds, mist, open skies, she's a stealth bomber with wings. Despite her ethereal beauty, the Light Fury isn't all dainty and delicate. Her plasma blasts are just as devastating as Toothless, capable of leveling full-grown trees in a single hit. She's faster than a Viking running from a Gronkel, nimble in flight, and tough enough to crash land without a scratch. Visually, she's lighter and sleeker than her Night Fury counterpart, built for speed and elegance. Her white, blue, and pink iridescent scales sparkle like moonlit waves, and her butterfly-like wings add to her mystical charm. Instead of Toothless's ridges, she has a smooth head, plus a cute little heart-shaped tail. Don't let her beauty deceive you, because she's got some major trust issues. And honestly, it's understandable given that humans haven't been the kindest to her species. While Toothless is a playful goofball, the Light Fury is more cautious, aggressive, and way quicker to shoot first and ask questions later. When she first met Hiccup and Astrid, she didn't hesitate to blast a giant tree into oblivion just to make a point. Message received. That said, underneath her skepticism lies a fiercely loyal and intelligent dragon. Like Toothless, she has a deep empathy and will defend those in need. Once she trusts you, she's a devoted ally and a perfect match for the alpha of all dragons. The Light Fury isn't just a variation of the Night Fury, she's his equal, ideal balance, and an unstoppable force of nature in her own right. I understand why this ship is so popular. Screaming Death. Screaming Death is a monstrous, heavily mutated Titan wing terror with all the subtlety of a Viking trying to sneak past a dragon nest in full armor. It's snow white, has blazing red eyes that could bore into your soul, and a powerful roar that can shake the ground and summon an army. The Screaming Death is so massive it can sink islands by digging underneath. Its armor-like scales are nearly impenetrable, making it one of the toughest dragons. Plasma blasts, natter spikes, Gronkel fire, they barely leave a scratch on it. Oh, and those teeth? This dragon has so many teeth, it's odd. 3 rows of razor-sharp fangs line its mouth, perfect for burrowing through rock, wood, and anything that gets in its way. If it can chew through a sea stack like it's breakfast, imagine what it could do to a Viking hut. You'd think a dragon this big would be slow, but nope. The Screaming Death is ridiculously fast and can keep up with a flying Night Fury. On the ground, it slithers like its Whispering Death relatives, but in the air, it uses its massive tail like a helicopter rotor to propel itself forward, making it way more agile than it has any right to. Oh, and did I mention mention its firepower, this beast launches massive explosive fireballs rapidly like a living fire-breathing catapult. When it's not blasting things to bits, it can spit out rings of fire to keep things interesting. The screaming death doesn't scream for fun, although I bet he enjoys it. Its roar is so loud and disorienting, it can mess with other dragons' flight patterns. More than that, it's a summoning signal, like a battle horn that calls whispering deaths to its aid. Oh, and they come running because when the biggest, baddest dragon around tells you to move, you move. For all its destructive power, the screaming death is pretty clever. It learns from past mistakes, adapts to enemy tactics, and even understands when someone has helped its family. Also, he's the mama's boy of the dragon world. Its mother, Ground Splitter, is a normal-sized whispering death, but that doesn't stop her from keeping her massive, overgrown child in check. If you want a shot at controlling the screaming death, just talk to his mom. Skrill! If Thor had a pet dragon, it would be the Skrill. This elusive, electricity-loving beast rides lightning bolts at hypersonic speeds, making it one of the world's most fearsome and hard-to-catch dragons. Skrills are sleek, spiky, and built for speed. Their metallic spines don't just look cool, they conduct and store electricity, turning this dragon into a living lightning battery. Its sharp crown of spikes, menacing purple or teal-blue scales, and powerful wings give it a regal, almost dangerous elegance. The Skrill doesn't breathe fire like some basic dragon, it channels raw electricity. With a single shot, it can fire blue lightning bolts over massive distances, redirect multiple bolts simultaneously, and even block attacks by creating an electrical force field. It's got all the perks of being a dragon and a thunderstorm rolled into one. The real showstopper, though, is his ability to lightning surge. Skrills can ride lightning bolts, zipping through storms faster than sound. They can travel kilometers in fractions of a second, making them one of the fastest dragons, second only to the Night Fury. Even though he has a slim, aerodynamic body, this dragon is super strong. It once sent a 3,000-pound deadly natter flying with a casual wing slap. Skrills can hold their own against Night Furies in battle, making them one of the few dragons capable of going toe-to-toe with Toothless. If that wasn't enough, Titan Wing Skrills take things up a notch. Bigger, meaner, and charged with even more electricity, these upgraded versions can shrug off powerful blasts and crash through solid crystal like it's nothing. Like all strike-class dragons, the Skrill is highly intelligent. The Skrill isn't just about looks and power, it has a temper as unpredictable as a lightning strike. This dragon is territorial, fiercely independent, and not one for small talk. It prefers to roam stormy skies, using electrical storms as a recharging station and a battlefield. Skrills don't trust humans or dragons easily, and if you get on one's bad side, you might as well start writing your will. They're notorious for holding grudges. Case in point, the frozen Skrill, which spent years trapped in ice. The moment it broke free, it immediately went after Hiccup and Toothless, determined to make them pay. Stormcutter. Stormcutter is a mix between an owl, a bat, and, well, I guess a jet fighter. This four-winged, flame-spewing powerhouse is a sharp-class legend built for speed, agility, and pure intimidation. With its double set of wings, an imposing crown of spikes, and an attitude, this dragon is as graceful as she is dangerous. Stormcutters are massive, covered in iridescent fish-like scales, making them shimmer like a living gemstone when they fly. Their most iconic feature is that they have four wings. The Stormcutter struts around with double the flight power, making it a master of tight turns, aerial maneuvers, and hovering like a boss. Their owlish face and massive crown of spikes give them a regal yet menacing vibe, as if they know they're superior. When they walk, they use their lower wings as legs, giving them an almost stalking predator. Oh, and they can rotate their heads 180 degrees. Titan Wing Stormcutters are even bigger, badder, and redder, with larger spines, an expanded crown, and wings that shift from deep red to soft pink, basically an upgraded version of an already formidable beast. If you think their aerial skills are impressive, wait until you see their firepower. Stormcutters are capable of unleashing tornado-shaped infernos and setting entire buildings ablaze in seconds. They're strong enough to carry humans on their backs and tails. Need more proof? In a deleted scene, Cloudjumper ripped apart Drago's war machines like they were made of paper. Stormcutters also have incredible senses, rivaling Tracker-class dragons. They can sniff out danger, sense shifts in the weather, and detect hidden threats before anyone else. In case firepower wasn't enough, Titan Wing Stormcutters can let out a scream so powerful it shatters ice pillars. Imagine a battle cry so loud it makes the ground tremble. Yeah, they've got that. Stormcutters are proud, intelligent, and confident, carrying themselves with the grace of royalty. They're not the type to pick fights, but when they do, oh, they absolutely dominate. Despite their fearsome presence, they can be surprisingly sweet, if they like you, that is. Cloudjumper instantly recognized that Baby Hiccup and Valka weren't a threat, but when Stoic showed up, that's when things got heated. They're also a bit mysterious, preferring to keep to themselves rather than mingling with other dragons. Death Song. Meet the Death Song. A dragon so mesmerizing it could lure even the most battle-hardened Viking into a trance, just before wrapping them up in amber like a prehistoric fossil. That is, this mystery class predator doesn't fight fair. Instead, it sings its enemies into submission, then traps them in rock-hard amber cocoons before enjoying a well-earned snack. Think of it as a living booby trap with style. If dragons had fashion icons, the death song would be on the cover of every Dragon Vogue issue. Covered in bright oranges, blues, and violets, its wings are stunningly patterned with swirling designs and eye spots that hypnotize prey. Add in a sleek timberjack-like body, a frilled head, and twisted horns, and you've got a dragon that looks like royalty but hunts like a beast. When it comes to Titan Wing death songs, everything gets bigger, sharper, and even flashy. More horns, larger frills, and deadlier spikes. The death song's voice is its deadliest weapon. It helps them control their prey. One song, and dragons turn into zombie-like drones, walking straight into their doom. This power comes from its extra cervical vertebrae, which expand like a speaker system to broadcast its song nearly a mile away. Even baby death songs have this ability, though they mostly use it to mimic sounds and annoy everyone around them. This dragon can split amber, a sticky, rock-hard resin that traps prey like a bug in a web. Once the victim is nice and cocooned, the death song smashes them out and devours them. It's so precise with its amber that it even builds its nests out of the stuff. Oh, and it can easily lift a 2.5-ton gronkel plus the extra weight of the amber. One swing of its whip-like tail can send a full-grown thunder drum flying or smack a baby death song straight into a wall. Death songs are lone hunters guided by an insatiable appetite. They'll eat almost anything if it wanders too close. They're so independent that they abandon their own young unless the hatchling can sing a song that resonates. Not all death songs are heartless eating machines, though Garf, for example, proved that they can be loyal, playful, and even protective so long as you don't insult them in song.
Not going anywhere.
Singe-tail. Singe-tail is a medium-sized Stoker-class dragon that constantly has his survival mode switched on. Think of him as a dragon, a rocket, and a firework all rolled into one. Singe-tails have wide, flat bodies, 4 legs, and 4 wings, giving them more limbs than your average dragon. Their chameleon-like eyes move independently, meaning they can look forward and backward at the same time. Good luck trying to sneak up on them. Covered in sharp spikes from head to tail, they honestly look like they were designed by someone who thought dragons weren't dangerous. Titan wing Singe-tails crank things up a notch by growing even bigger, sprouting more spikes, and turning pinkish purple. A Singe-tail's flame game is next level. Like most dragons that only breathe fire from their mouths, this beast can shoot fire from its stomach and tail thanks to fire-producing gills on its belly. It can even use these flames to boost its speed, basically turning itself into a living jet engine. Singe-tails are built like tanks. One took a whip beating without slowing down and survived being buried under trees like it was a mild inconvenience. They can also fly for long distances without tiring and carry extra weight, including humans and metal chains. Speed-wise, they can keep up with Night Furies and deadly Natters, though they usually cheat by blasting obstacles out of their way to gain an advantage. Singe-tails are aggressive, territorial, and not afraid to throw hands, or fire, at anything that gets too close. They attack other dragons, even monstrous nightmares, which are already some of the fiercest out there. When they're not defending their turf, they turn into lazy lumps, sleeping so deeply that someone could literally lie on them without waking them up. They're not all bad though. Singe-tails are surprisingly social and fiercely loyal to their own kind. They never abandon their group, whether it's adults, hatchlings, or even eggs. If one is in trouble, they send out a fiery distress signal, summoning reinforcements in the most dramatic way possible. Changewing. Changewing. These mystical, medium-sized mystery-class dragons are the ninjas of the dragon world, blending into their surroundings with an insane camouflage ability. Changewings come in red or green with glowing yellow eyes, and their teeth stick out like they're always mid-growl. They've got a single nose horn, 2 head horns, and a pair of leafy-looking antennae, making them look like something straight out of a mythical jungle. Their wings are edged in yellow, and their spiky backs have a leafy, organic vibe. Titan wing changewings, on the other hand, are slightly different. Their colors darken, their wings get sharp red edges, and their spines and horns shift color, giving them an even more menacing look. Basically, they level up in intimidation. Like chameleons, changewings change color and texture to match their surroundings, making them almost impossible to spot. The only things that don't change color are their eyes. If you're unlucky enough to lock eyes with them, get ready to be hypnotized into doing their bidding. Ever wanted to be a dragon's personal assistant? No? Well, too bad, now you are. If their stealth mode and mind control powers weren't enough, they spit acid too. Not just regular acid, but highly corrosive explosive burn-through-anything acid. This stuff can melt solid objects in seconds and even stay intact underwater like some kind of superpowered oil slick. Despite being sneaky, they aren't fragile. Changelings are strong. They can carry humans in their claws, tails, or even on their backs without breaking a sweat. Their speed and agility are top tier, and they can even outrun a deadly natter when they're not just vanishing into thin air. Unlike lone wolf dragons, Changewings work in packs. For all their intimidating abilities, Changewings have a softer side. They're super maternal, sometimes even raising Viking babies like their own hatchlings. And yes, this actually happened, poor Snotlout. They also love copying what they see, making them some of the most curious dragons around. Oh, and they shed their skin like a snake, and the discarded skin still retains its camouflage. That's right, their old skin can turn invisible, which is both cool and mildly horrifying. Marvelous verdict! Well, there you have it, the top 10 strongest dragons and how to train your dragon. Of course, strength isn't just about brute force, it's about speed, intelligence, strategy, and even teamwork. While all of these dragons are undeniably powerful, our favorite will forever be Toothless. Come on, he's got it all. Strength, speed, plasma blasts, and that cute little face. How could anybody resist that? Anyways, now we want to hear from you. Who's your favorite dragon? And if you could have one dragon as your best friend, which one would it be? Who do you think is the strongest of all the dragons? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. We can't wait to read them, and see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there and have a marvelous day.